Well, hello racing fans, and a warm welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for the Sunday. It's the 3rd of March. We are racing at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, and it is a busy day on what they have on the menu. There are 9 races carded. I trust that you're well and you're looking forward to ending off the weekend on a high. And as always, our analyst in the Western Cape is none other than Graham Hawkins. Graham, I haven't spoken to you in a while, and how's things down in the Western Cape?
All good, thank you. Of course, the curtain has come down on the Cape summer season. We enjoyed Derby Day. Pity about Pomodoro's jet. That spoiled what would have otherwise been an absolutely perfect day for all of us. But a very impressive win in the Splash-Out Cape Derby by Green with Envy. We look forward to seeing him improving even further going forward. But now it's back to the bread and butter stuff.
Yep, let's get straight into it, Graham. Race number 1 doesn't form part of the exotics, as I mentioned, with 9 races carded. 12:15 will be the off of race number 1, and it's a maiden juvenile played for fillies, and it's over 1,200 meters. Lots of unknowns in the race, so keep an eye on the betting with those first timers. Just as we always do, as a guide, anti-post, horses that are in single figures. Horse number 12, Sources Supreme, from 9-2 into 33-10 Graham. And then we have number 14, Dark Winter, at even money. The balance of the horses are all in double figures. I'll just give you some information on Sources Supreme, through my association at Dial-In, Chinsami. Michelle Ricks, Graham, has posted on the group with all the owners that the filly is doing exceptionally well. She's taken her last start very well. Sean Veal has been there to work her during the mornings when he got a chance down in the Western Cape. And it's all systems go. They are expecting a big run from her. She actually suggested that whoever can make it down to the racetrack on Sunday, they must do so. So she's passed on the confidence to the owners, which is fantastic. And the form that she represents speaks for itself. We did chat about this when we spoke about that race meeting on the 24th, Graham, and it was nice to talk to the master come out and enhance that form line. So things may point in that direction, or you're going to have a look at the form line behind Symphony in White. I don't know which way you're leading to.
Look, the 2 runners jump out the page at you. Number 12, Sorcerer Supreme, and number 14, Dark Winter. As you say, it's no surprise that the money's coming for number 12, Sorcerer Supreme, priced up at 9-2. That was probably a little generous. We've seen so many winners come out of that form line from behind number 12, Sorcerer Supreme, that she has to be a very, very strong contender here. Number 14, Dark Winter, of course, improving, coming along the right way. Not a bad debut behind Sahara Cat. Improved further when second to Symphony in White. So these 2 do jump out the page at you. Number 4, Dixieland Band, and number 13, De Vlugger, should be safely held by number 14, Dark Winter. And as you've mentioned, there are 1 or 2 interesting first-timers. Number 6, Miss World, Greg Enyon, very positive comments. Number 7, From a Distance, representing Candice Bass-Robertson and Elder de Meyer, very nicely bred. Richard Farid teaming up with Peter Muscat with number 9, Miss Argonaut. That could also be anything on debut. And then Brett Crawford suggesting that number 15, Tuscan Romance, has a place chance. But I do think the winner will come from one of number 12, Sorcerer Supreme, and number 14, Dark Winter. And there shouldn't be too much to choose between the pair.
Well, those are the 2 horses that Graham has singled out, 12 and 14, and they seem to be the right horses on the form that they represent. Just one other runner for interest that is backed in from long odds on Hollywoodbets, 33-1 into 16-1, horse number 6, Miss World. Let's move along to start off the exotics, and it will be the bar pot. It's 1,800 meters. And you need to get that bar pot on by 12:50. There are no scratchings, so all 8 runners go at the time of recording. Just one declaration with regards to weight. Number 1, Fashion Enigma, Pumim Jokwa, will be plus 2.5 kgs there. So, number 2, 33-10. Number 3, 28-10. Horse number 4 at 4-1. 6 at 5-1. 7 at 8-1. And then we have Marshall Field, horse number 8 at 4-1. That's the top weight, carrying 61.5 kgs. How many horses do we kick things off here, Graham? It is a small field. Can we narrow this down for the bipod?
Yeah, in the bipod, I think there are only 4 horses that have realistic chances of winning, and I'm going with 2 of those in the bipod. My first choice is number 8, Marshall Field. I did expect a little more last time out. I thought he would really stepping up to 2,200 meters. But in truth, this course and distance seems to be its best. And so I'm going to go with Marshall Field. Number 3, Luce Verde as the backup. So 3 and 8 in the first leg of the bipod. You've obviously got to respect number 2, Lightning Glow, recent maiden winner. Number 4, Fly Futura, also a recent maiden winner, but beating Storm Boulevard, that wasn't a deep field. So I think that number 4, Fly Futura, is going to have to improve significantly to make his presence felt here. You have to have a measure of respect for number 6, Majestic Warrior. So the short list of potential winners would be 2, Lightning Glow, 3, Luce Verde, 6, Majestic Warrior, and 8, Marshall Field. Marshall Field being my first choice. And I'm going with numbers 3 and 8 in the opening leg of the bipod.
3 and 8 for the bipod. Graham, I just want to touch on one runner, number 6, Majestic Warrior, because we'll see that horse, Kabona Lesedi, later on in the day. That last start was a very good debut, considering the KZN form lines that he brought into the race. I thought he ran really well, Majestic Warrior.
He did run really well, but when you look at his overall portfolio, then I get the feeling that he's going to have to improve any further. I'm not quite sure what to make of that, the form of the last run. As you said, we'll see a couple of those runners later on in this card. He's definitely got a chance. He's one of the 4 that I think have got big chances in this race, but I'd like to see him confirm that form.
Confirm that form, Peter Muscat's run up. Let's see how he goes on Sunday. Race number 3 kicks off the place accumulator, 13.25. This is a maiden plate for fillies and mares over 1,600 meters. And at the time of recording, number 7 is a scratching. So, how many runners go to post here, Graham? 9 will go to post now, if there are no further scratchings on the day. Number 1 at 4-1. Horse number 3 at 33-10, number 8 at 3-1, 9 at 3-1, and 10 at 4-1. You can see how open this is at the top of the betting boards, Graham. You got 33-10, 3-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-1. It looks like a race that, if you try and get through with 2 or 3 runners in the place accumulator, you could possibly double up or treble up, or if you want to go with 1 runner, then you're going to have to hope for some luck.
Yeah, I don't think it's a banker race in any of the exotics, that being either the bipod or the place accumulator. 3 different form lines. You've got the Kawakazi form line, and if you're going to follow that form line, then you've got a fancy number 9, Plum Pudding. Ran second behind Kawakazi. Devilishly Gorgeous was 4th. And Hampstead Heath was 5th. They were spread out by about 2.5 lengths. So Plum Pudding could confirm that form. Green Isle, the Mount of Richard Free, brings the F8 form line into play. And then we've got the Tokyo Princess form line for number 3, St. Bridget. I'm not mad on the Tokyo Princess form line. I could be wrong. Of course, this is not a deep field. I don't think any of these fillies are going to win their way through the divisions, but they all have the potential to win a race of this nature. So I'm going 1, 9, and 10 in the bipod. I'm going to banker the Kawakazi form line, if you like. So I'm going with numbers 1, Devilishly Gorgeous, 9, Plum Pudding, and 10, Hampstead Heath. Of course, Green Isle and St. Bridget come into the reckoning as far as exactas, trifectas, and quartets are concerned. My top choice would be number 9, Plum Pudding. She's beautifully bred. She's less exposed than her rival. She's coming along the right way, and I think she'll improve further over 1,600 meters. The last meeting was over 1,400 meters, and I think that number 9, Plum Pudding, must rate the one to beat.
Well, I think Graham has helped us out there with those 3 runners, 1, 9, and 10. And if he's on the marker, then that could be good here for the place accumulator. And just keep an eye on Eric Sands' runners. The stable's in fantastic form, and he's engaged the services of Richard Fourie on number 8. And number 2, I see, has got an equipment change added to the blinkers, will be the tongue tie as well. Sean Veal riding well for Eric Sands. On to the big one. It is the start of the Pick 6. It's race number 4. It's over the distance of 1,600 meters. You need to get this pick six on, and I suspect it could be a sizable pool in a very wide open competitive race card. 1,400 hours, which is 2 p.m. And I had a look at the weights here. It's from 61 all the way down to 52 kgs in this open maiden. But let's try and see if we can give you a guide with the betting. Anti-post, number 6, 5-1. Horse number 8 at 8-1. Then we got number 11 at 9-2. There is money, Graham, for number 12, Apache Chief, from 8-1. It opened up. Now that's trading at 5-1. Horse number 15 at 6-1. And number 16 at 8-1. Yeah, these can be tricky races, Graham. These open maiden races are obviously structured like a handicap. This race is an absolute nightmare for me, Graham. I couldn't narrow it down to less than half the field. Maybe you can do so.
I'll do my best, Dees. It's a nasty start to the pick six and open maiden over 1,600 meters, as you've said. So the runners I would include in the pick six: number 6, 4 Jacks, number 8, Tsunami Warning, number 11, Go It Alone, number 12, Apache Chief, number 15, Dawn Cloud, and number 16, Devil a Saint. Those are the 6 runners that I would include in the opening leg of the pick six. In the bipot, I'm going with number 6, 4 Jacks, number 11, Go It Alone, that's a stable companion, and number 15, Dawn Cloud. Those are the 3 I'm putting in the bipot, but I'll put all 6 of those that I've mentioned into the pick six. As you say, it's not an easy race. I have a feeling that number 6, 4 Jacks is going to run really well here. He would be my each-way selections, but it's an impossible race to nail your colours to the mast.
This early betting support for number 12, Apache Chief, as I mentioned in the previous race, this combination doing well of Sands and Veal.
Yeah, you've got to respect number 12, Apache Chief. He's got 61 to shoulder. He's drawn in gate 12, as you said, giving weight away all round. He's giving 7 kilos to a horse like Dawn Cloud. Can he do that? Well, only the race will show. He's giving away a couple of kilos to Devil a Saint, a couple of kilos to Go It Alone. And Tsunami Warning for me could be the improver in the race, the Dean Kennemeyer stable, 3-year-old son of Denon Platina. He hasn't shown much to date, but he's down to 56.5 in this maiden handicap, and he could be the improver. I just think that 4 Jacks well drawn. Grant Vineca takes the ride apparently not in preference to number 11, Go It Alone, because as we know, JP van der Merwe rides for Greg Boards, and so JP would ride number 11, Go It Alone, and Grant Vineca number 6, 4 Jacks. I like the fact that 2 runs back, there was quite a lot of money for 4 Jacks, and he ran 4th behind Dream Searcher. Now, in that same race, he had number 12, Apache Chief, behind him. And so there's no reason why Apache Chief, with the worst draw, should turn the tables at number 6, 4 Jacks. But I do respect the fact that Eric Sands is in form. I respect the fact that the Veal-Sands combination is in form. Sean does well when he raids the Western Cape. So I'm not going to take the betting support lightly, but I do think that 4 Jacks from a better draw could confirm that form.
Yeah, I think Graham could be spot on with his assessment there between those 2 runners. And if there's any follow-through from number 12, Apache Chief, then maybe you can consider going a bit light in a bet like a place accumulator. But race number 5 is Jackpot 1. It's over 1,800 meters. Betting here, Graham, horse number 1 at 4-1, 2 at 9-2, 3 at 8-1, 5 and 6 are the fillies, 7-2 and 6-1 respectively. 7 Katsu at 8-1. Then we go on to number 10, which is an 8-1 shot. Graham, there's lots of form to work around here. You can you sit around and try to narrow it down if you can, and then it is an absolute bonus. And I think my first question will be, can these 2 fillies, numbers 5 and 6, hold themselves against the boys here?
Well, Dees, that's a question you've got to ask yourself. You do go with the official ratings, you go with the conditions of the race and how the handicappers see it, because in terms of the conditions of a Cape B Stakes or any of these Cape Stakes races, when there's a filly against the colts, the fillies are advantaged. And as you can see from the best weighted column, Time for Love and Supreme Dream are daylight ahead of the colts and the geldings. And I, on this occasion, am going to trust that. I'm narrowing my selections down to number 5, Supreme Dream, who gets the services of Richard Faree, and number 6, Time for Love. So my bipod inclusions are 5 and 6, and I'm probably going to go with those 2 in the pick 6 as well. I might cover in the jackpot, because obviously it's never easy for the fillies to beat the boys, but they're so well treated in terms of the conditions of this race. They've got many lengths to spare that it's really difficult to look past them. If you do, there are many, many, many with chances, as you said. Interesting declaration. One Prevalence, who's been knocking very loudly at the door, gets blinkers. That's a late declaration. Number 4, Night Ruler, gets a tongue tie. And then also getting blinkers is number 8, Ignatius. So if you're going to look past the 2 fillies, 5, Supreme Dream, and 6, Time for Love, then you've got to consider all of numbers 1, Prevalence, 2, Gentleman Joe, 3, Tamara's Tree, 8, Ignatius, and 10, Weather King. And because that list gets a little bit long, and because they're so well weighted, certainly as far as the bipod and the pick 6 is concerned, I'm going to narrow my selections to number 5, Supreme Dream, and number 6, Time for Love, and hope that Richard Faree boots home another winner.
Well, Graham Hawkins siding with the roses against the thorns here, but I'm absolutely glad that he touched on number 1, Prevalence, and that equipment change, because you watch this horse in his races. Yes, he hasn't won for a long time. I think this could be the key. He has raced with blinkers. I don't know if he has raced with them in the past. I doubt it, because he's only had 13 runs in his career. But the form line of his last start, pull that out behind a quarter main, and you'll see that if the blinkers do the trick and the desired effect, massive runner. Graham Hawkins with the fillies, numbers 5 and 6 there, siding with the way the weights are structured in race number 5. On to the 6th race, Jackpot 2, 1,400 meters. Now, the betting in this race will have number 1 at 9-2, horse number 2 at 7-2. Then we go on to number 5 at 4-1. And there is money, anti-post. Well, number 8 is at 7-1, Graham. And then there is money for number 9, Kelp Forest, from 22-10. That's been backed into 18-10. And I think that is where we'll start, Graham, with the top one in the race, number 9, Kelp Forest, and now at 18-10.
Yeah, that's all my money. I'm making one of the better bets on the card. No, I'm kidding. It's not my money. I'm sure it's Darren Burrows' money. Darren Burrows is one of the many owners of number 9, Kelp Forest. He was desperately unlucky to not win last time out. He was continuously balked when 4th behind Michael Faraday. Now, you know, in this wonderful game of ours, when you look at the race card and you decide how you're going to structure your exotic bet play, here and there you've got to take a chance. And in a race meeting of this sort, in the absence of standout bets, you've got to sort of decide where you're going to go short, and I'm going to row in with number 9, Kelp Forest, as my banker bet for the day. I'm not surprised that there's been money for him. He is drawn out worst of all in the 9-horse field. I'm intrigued by the fact that Elder de Meyer rides. Elder de Meyer's only ridden Kelp Forest once before, and that's when he won his maiden, and that was a very long time ago. So I think out of pure frustration, Adam Marcus has said this horse should have won again. So, in its recent starts, I know that it's won, obviously subsequent to its maiden win, but let's go back to Elder de Meyer, who steered this horse Kelp Forest home to his maiden victory. Elder's only ridden it once before and has a 100% record on the 4-year-old son of Flower Alley. So Elder de Meyer gets a leg up from Adam Marcus. That doesn't happen all that often, but when it does, they generally run well. But of course, it's not a one-horse race. While I'm throwing my lot in with number 9, Kelp Forest, there are definitely others with chances. I think number 2, Master of Paris, who was a half a length behind Kevin Lassetti last time out, could turn the tables on Eric Sands' runner, but that form line has to be respected. So if you're going deeper than number 9, Kelp Forest, the numbers 2 and 5 have got to come into the play. There are a lot of horses here that are struggling for form, and that's the reason why I've decided that in order to find a banker somewhere, I'm sure I'm gonna get a good run from number 9, Kelp Forest. Hopefully he gets his head in front in time and doesn't meet with any traffic interference. He's got the ability, but clearly numbers 2 and 5 rate the principal dangers, while number 8, Aberdeen, who was comfortably behind Kelp Forest last time out, can improve, because this will be his 3rd run after a rest.
Okay, you heard it from Graham Hawkins for the show. He is all in on number 9, Kelp Forest. But if you want to run for cover, well, you don't need to run too far. He's just given you 2 horses, numbers 2 and 5 there in race number 6. We move along to the 7th race over 1,400 meters. It's for fillies and mares. And let's get straight into the betting here. This is a tough race. Race 7, number 2, 5-2. Number 3 at 8-1. 4 is at 6-1. Then we go on to number 6 at 3-1. Horse number 8 at 8-1. And 10 is at 8-1. Graham, if you've survived your best thus far, whatever bet you've taken, whether it's the bar pot, the place accumulator, the pick 6, or jackpot 1 and jackpot 2, whatever bet you've taken, if you've got this far now, this race, how can you be confident? With how many numbers will you be confident here, Graham?
I think with 4 horses, G's, but as you say, it is a Class 5 handicap for fillies and mares, 1,400 meters, so there's always the potential for an upset result. Let me quickly numerically run through those 4 runners. Number 2, Hang Out the Stars. Number 6, Among the Clouds. And then the Greg Inion pair of number 8, Fly to Rio, and 10, Veronique. I have a feeling they're going to run well. And in fact, I think that number 8, Fly to Rio, could represent some good each-way value here. But number 2, Hang Out the Stars, comes out of that very same Kevin Lasedi form line. Richard Faree takes the ride for the Mike Stewart stable. Richard Faree only rides Hang Out the Stars for the second time, but as you know, Richard Faree enjoys a very healthy strike rate for Mike Stewart. Number 6, Among the Clouds, has probably been running against better, does have 62 to shoulder. Fly to Rio's got 55, and as a 3-time winner, that's a pretty handy mark. And Veronique's got 54. I think they're going to run well, but clearly this race is what it is. It's a Class 5 handicap. If there was to be a massive upset, we're all waiting for Lunga Gila to get off the mark in the Western Cape. He's been given an opportunity by Cape Racing to train there. Now, Queen Bomi hasn't, ex-Paul Matchett hasn't raced since November, but if you can run 4th behind Gimme Another and be beaten only 4 lengths, admittedly receiving 3 kilograms, and prior to that when beating Duena. Now, Duena is a 3-time winner subsequent to that win. So if number 3, Queen Bomi, is in the right space and doesn't need a run and is adapted to the Western Cape surroundings, then that could be the bomb result, because the form is very, very useful. But I'm going to sit on the fence with number 3, Queen Bomi, go with number 8, Fly to Rio, to win this ahead of number 2, Hang Out the Stars, number 6, Among the Clouds, and number 10, Veronique. But if you do want to throw into a complete lunatic horse in terms of the betting, then number 3, Queen Bomi, would be that horse.
Well, we're going to include it. I'll tell you why we're going to include it. There's 10 runners going to post at the time of recording. Gams has given 4, so there's room for one more. 2, 3, 6, 8, and 10. And that is where we're going to go with that pick 6. We've given her some airtime, number 3, Queen Bomi, and maybe Lunga Gede could get off to a start in the Western Cape, because he may have found the right race for that filly, and a nice pick there from Graham in race number 7. If that has to arrive, you will no doubt drop tickets. Race number 8, 1,000 meters. How are they betting here? Well, horse number 3 at 8-1, number 4 at 8-1, 5 is at 7-1, number 6, the Abdicator, is at 28-10, horse number 8 at 8-1, and 10 is at 3-1. We also have another runner in single figures, and that's number 13 at 7-1. Now, I must just pay compliments to Brett Crawford and his team, and of course the horse, the Abdicator, because it looked like he was going backwards in his career, Graham. But it's really nice to see him, bounce back to the form that he promised as a young horse. We understand that he was gelded on the 15th of August, so that must have had a lot to do with him. But he's in really good form, this horse, number 6, Graham.
Yeah, you can't fault his form, and he has to be the natural first selection in this race. He's so quick. He only just held on last time, but in doing so, he beat Future Varieties well above average. We saw Future Variety last week press Thunderstruck all the way to the line. So there's no doubt that form has stood up. He's won 2 of his last 3 races. He beat Tough Terrain only by half a length, so you could say that brings Tough Terrain into the race with a chance, but I still believe that Tough Terrain finds the minimum trip too short for him and only gets into the race when it's all too late. So I think that number 6, the Abdicator, will confirm that form. It's interesting that the back in form, the Abdicator, gets his 4th different jockey in as many races. So Corley rode him when he beat Tough Terrain, then Liam Cotto had a chance, then Richard Ferree won on the Abdicator when beating Future Variety last time out. So there's no consistency in the saddle, because this time around Craig Zaki gets a ride. But I don't believe there's any mystery way to ride the Abdicator. The gates open, you fly to the front, and you hope to hold on. So what are the dangers? I think number 5, Nordic Chief, has got to be respected. I think number 9, William West, has got to be respected. But I think the biggest threat might come from number 10, King of the Gauls. We know that Tony Riverland has always held King of the Gauls in very high regard. He didn't stay the 1,600 meters of the Gold Rush, so you could draw a line through that. Goes all the way back to the minimum trip. And it's interesting that Richard Ferree rode the Abdicator last time out when winning, beating Future Variety, and now rides number 10, King of the Gauls. So I think the 2 leading candidates are number 6, the Abdicator, and number 10, King of the Gauls. You might get away with those 2 in your jackpots and your pick 6s. If you're going to add 2 more, then add 5, Nordic Chief, and 9, William West. If you're going to add 1 more, then add number 8, Tough Terrain.
Okay, 5, 6, 9, and 10, Graham, are the principles. If you are playing with the rule in the pick 6, we'll need 6 runners there. Which 2 would you add to 5, 6, 9, and 10?
Well, I'd add number 8, Tough Terrain, only by virtue of the fact that he did get to within a half a length of the Abdicator a little while ago, even though I believe Tough Terrain gets completely outpaced early and really needs a minimum of 1,200 meters, but you never know. If the wind is blowing strongly, headwind, then that could suit Tough Terrain. And if I was to add 1 more, then I'd go with the capable but inconsistent but lightly weighted number 3, Bluff and Bluff, carrying just 52.5. He would be my next choice.
Okay, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10 for Graham Hawkins there in race number 8. 9th race is over 1,000 meters, where we close things off, Graham. And the betting at the time of recording sees number 3 at 33 to 10, horse number 4 at 9 to 2, number 6 at 11 to 2. Blinkers on number 7, that's at 4 to 1. Horse number 8 at 7 to 2. And that is it, Graham. There are 10 runners that will go to post here. And horses that are in single figures, are those the right horses in the race? I'll give them to you in numerical order. Numbers 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. The others are all in double figures. Has the market got this right?
I think so, Dees, but having said that, for me, this is a real tough race. For me, it's a field race, but if you're going to try and narrow it down, then I think the betting has got it probably just about right. My top choice would be number 4, Swift Action. He ran second over 1,000 meters behind Lunch Money last time out. He's pretty game, he's pretty consistent, he's seldom far back, and I think he's ready to record his 3rd career victory, but no good thing, obviously. Number 6, Wordsworth, and number 8, Grand Bay. Clear dangers. Grand Bay steps back to 1,000 meters. He was very impressive over 1,200 meters last time out. He showed any amount of pace. Just how strong that form line is, we're not sure. Beating De Janeiro, he did the job, but it wasn't a deep field. Craig Zaki, of course, gets on well with him. He's ridden him 3 times previously for 2 wins. So Grand Bay has got to be on that very short list. Number 3, Hear My Voice, has definitely got a chance. Was a fluent winner of a last start, arguably in better company, so you can't ignore number 3, Hear My Voice. But then again, we never do ignore Richard Ferree, and he teams up with Paul Reeves. On Board is the best weighted. Again, it's one of these Cape Stakes races, and the fillies get well treated. On Board is the best weighted, but not a great margin. And interestingly, late declarations, the blinkers go on number 7, On Board. Ran 3rd behind Silver Screen last time out, and 3 runs back, 2nd behind Wiley Jack. So there's collateral form there, which brings number 7 on board into the race with a chance. So those are, I think, the principles, and I think the winners should come from one of those. But would I be surprised if Wiley Jack suddenly put his act together again, Bonanza put his act together again? So, as I said, it's pretty much a field race, but I think the runners we mentioned are the principles, and the winner should come from one of those.
Okay, let me tell you this, Graham. You're going to be giving a suggested bet for the show, which you've chosen to be a bar pot. I've jotted some numbers down, which I'm going to read out as a guide, as a skeleton for the guys in the Pick Six. Once we're going into the last leg, the perm at this stage, Graham, is costing 360 Rand. What you'll be comfortable with doing at the back, and we can jot those numbers down.
Okay, I don't think then we should go the field. I think we should try and keep it to reasonable proportions. Then, in order of preference, I'd go with number 4, Swift Action, number 6, Wordsworth, number 8, Grand Bay, number 3, Hear My Voice, number 7, On Board, and number 5, Wiley Jack.
Well, I've got something, now that you mentioned that, I've got one more task for you, Graham. We have to eliminate one, otherwise we're going to have to include the field.
Okay, we'll eliminate Wiley Jack.
Okay, Wiley Jack, giving Graham some... Okay, Wiley Jack, that is horse number 5, so...
And then I'll blame you for forcing me to eliminate it.
I promise you, the majority that are listening into this preview and are jotting down these numbers, they are not leaving out Wiley Jack. That I can promise you. So we're multiplying that by 5, which will give us 1,800. I'll read the spontaneous, let's call it the spontaneous Pick Six that we just jotted down during the course of the meeting, unplanned. Okay, 6, 8, 11, 12, 15, and 16 by the 2 fillies, 5 and 6, by 9 a banker, which is Cal Forest, by 2, 3, 6, 8, and 10, twisted Graham's arm to include a horse that he thinks could drop tickets, which is Queen Bomi. Then by 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. And the last leg, well, Graham mentioned 6 runners, but I said we have to go with the rule. So it's 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. And the runner we've omitted, that you, the valued racing fan, I'm sure is going to include, is horse number 5. And that spend will be 180 Rand, which will give you 10%. Graham, over to you for that suggested buy pot.
Thank you, Dees, and a reminder that we have a 9-race program, so the buy pot starts in race 2. Numbers 3 and 8, Luce Verde and Marshall Field in the opener. Numbers 1, 9, and 10, Devilishly Gorgeous, Plum Pudding and Hampstead Heath in the second leg. Third leg, numbers 6, 11, and 15, 4 Jacks, Go It Alone, and Dawn Cloud. If you do want to add one more, throw in Eric Sands' runner, number 12, Apache Chief, that is finding some bidding support. Then the 2 fillies, as you've mentioned, they're key runners for me on the day in all exotic bets. Number 5, Supreme Dream, and number 6, Time for Love, certainly very well handicapped in terms of the conditions of the race. Then we're rowing in with number 9, Kelp Forest, as a banker in the penultimate leg. And lastly, numbers 2, 6, 8, and 10 in race 7, which is the final leg of the buy pot.
As always, Graham, thank you so much, and hopefully things fall into place.
Thank you, Dees. Go well.
Thanks to Graham Hawkins for his input on the show. Suggested bet a buy pot, but we've managed to structure an unplanned Pick Six during the course of that show. To you, the valued racing fan, hope everything falls into place on Sunday. If you are racing at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, have a blast, find all the winners, make a huge profit. And from the entire team at Gallop TV, myself, Dee Steiner, until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.